Mr. McMillan, would you like 30 seconds more?
Allow me to introduce myself. I represent the rent is too damn high party. People working 8 hours a day and 40 hours a week to some a third job. Women can't afford to take care of their children, feed their children breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My main job is to provide a roof over your head, food on the table, and money in your pocket. This is politics as usual. Playing the silly game. It's not going to happen. The rent too damn high movement, the people I'm here to represent can't afford to pay their rent. They're being laid off right now as I speak. They can't eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Listen, someone's stomach, child's stomach just growled. Did you hear it? Gotta listen.
You're now tuned in to UA360 Radio, UrbanAlchemy360.com.
You are listening to Urban Alchemy 360 Radio.
It's a real mother, man, let me tell you. Mr. McMillan, please introduce yourself completely to our audience.
Okay, I'm Jimmy McMillan. I represent the Rent's Too Damn High Party.
Say that again.
I'm Jimmy McMillan.
Yeah.
I represent the Rent is Too Damn High Party.
Okay.
First of all, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. And you, when I saw you on TV, and when my brother here told me that you were coming on the radio show, he didn't know how much of a hero you are to me, because you're speaking to me and all the peoples, all the proletariat, all the people on the ground. You're talking to us, because the whole system looks past us, working class people who pay taxes, who have no representation in this fascist corporate state. You came with a party to speak to us, and people didn't get the message. Please, thank you so much. You are a hero to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, they kind of thought it was a joke, but it's not a joke. You know, a lot of...
they're going to find out as their grandchildren get older, and their grandchildren, I took photographs of brand new homes in Memphis, Tennessee, and other parts of Alabama. But these brand new homes are located in the middle of cotton fields. You could live there free, but you must work those fields. There's a plan outlined for Black America as they designed Washington, D.C., when they began to put the storages up in New York before the homeless crisis began. They predict the future for the poor people, including Puerto Ricans and poor whites and all of us, that you can't live here, and here is no place for you. Even in the housing market, they have already taken away succession rights, meaning that your grandchildren will not be able to live, or your child will not be able to live in your apartment once you get old, sick, or die, or you move.
Or better yet, as a property owner, if you don't pay that tax bills, no matter how long you've owned a piece of property, you never own it, because they'll take it away from you in taxes.
And this is what the people voted. They want this to happen because we are mathematically illiterate nation. We are, even in the colleges, are not teaching mathematics, and I unveiled the DNA, economic DNA, through science. And it is not designed for the chocolate race to be here. I am part of the chocolate race.
Okay. Well, we know that genetically and scientifically that the architect that put us here has a different plan, but we have been attacked on so many levels, psychologically and even physically, now with us being on the medical industrial complex. But that's another thing I'll ask you about later. But it seems they only have use for us if we're part of the military industrial complex or the prison industrial complex, or they have no use for us otherwise.
And all of that is true, but I also want you to understand that all of that has changed. 9/11 brought about a completely wipeout of what used to be. We speak of the past doesn't matter anymore. The future is what we must focus on, that is not being paid attention to.
I totally agree with that. Forget about the past.
9/11 brought back 198,000 jobs lost, called the attack on the World Trade Center. And after the attack on the World Trade Center, we diverted all of our attention, those we voted for, to who slapped us. And they spent 5 years searching for who slapped us and left the people abandoned. And when I realized that, I swung into action right away. And when I realized that what I had uncovered in 1993, when 15 million businesses had fled the state of New York, I knew there would be a tsunami or a landslide of suffering, hunger crisis, housing crisis, jobless crisis. When I climbed the top of the Brooklyn Bridge in 1993, I uncovered Al-Qaeda in New York. First, let me just say this. I'm a Vietnam veteran, one of the most highly decorated veterans who still exists today silently. Charlie Rangel had 1 Bronze Star for serving his country. I have 3. And when I say I uncovered Al-Qaeda and I climbed the bridge I know what a terrorist organization was. I was specially trained in Vietnam to search and find John McCain while he was a prisoner of Viet Cong. And so was John Kerry. But unfortunately, we didn't find him, but we were vigilant looking for people like him. So I'm well trained in what I did. But when I did that, the first thing they said was, that nigga crazy. And I just couldn't get any help, because I realized I was in a country who was not aware of terrorism in 1993. And I still ignored it. I kept moving forward. In 2006, 2005, when I got on the ballot for mayor of the city of New York, then I just couldn't stop, because I couldn't turn my back on my country. The people who could say that I would never go to war to fight the white man's war, we wasn't voting. We was doing a whole lot of talk and not putting out mouth what our belief was. And all of that has turned to where we are today. Those same people who still criticize the white man aren't doing anything to change, to shut him up. We have a process called the election process that was established, and we didn't have the right to vote for many, many, many years. And once that right was given to us to vote, we ignored it with ignorance. And we have a crisis that was created through our grandparents that voted our children into a hellhole of future slavery that has never left. It was just covered systematically. All those people who go to church is one of those people who have smothered the fight, smothered the dream, believing in this imitation, this fake God, and putting all of their God this and God that. I don't blame that, but for the faith of these children, I remember listening to Minister Farrakhan one time in the Million Man March. Mm-hmm. He made a statement about what I just said. Go on, break it down. Make it plain. He made a statement about what I just said about the black preachers in the churches and the people, and no one said anything. They was afraid to challenge him on what he said about the black pastors, the churches, and people believing this nonsense. Most of those who was preaching about the God didn't know where the God come from and know anything about the God they was preaching. But what he was saying, something that no one understood. You can have a belief in the God, or you can have a belief, but if you're not doing anything to make life better for yourself on this planet, you don't believe in nothing. But no one understood. He didn't break it down in layman's terms. But when he said it, I clearly understood, because it was as visible can get. Mm-hmm. And we have become such an illiterate group of people that we don't focus on anything positive to fight for our grandchildren. And this is what our fight is all about. Well, we're getting old, we're getting sick, and we're dying. Our children can't pay this rent.
Let me ask you a question. Real quick. I want to ask you at a future date to come back and engage in that parameter of the discussion in further depth. Continue.
Sure.
I just want to ask you that because that's something
We could do that now, though.
All right. Well, let him finish, and then we'll come back to that. I don't want to sidetrack from the overall point.
That sounds good. Okay,
This is our
great.
overall point. Everything that we're talking about is the point.
Well,
this man.
All right, I'm going to start this, but I'm going to tell you, this is going to start something now. What you're talking about is how somebody took basically the history of the world, our peoples, and projected themselves back into history and esteemed themselves as a deity that we would come into servitude so they can colonize and enslave us and have us serving them instead of serving our own freedom, which Jesus came to free the Israelites from the iron hand oppression of the Romans. And people don't understand that. And then when you try to break it down to them, they want to say, what's wrong with you and everything. But they don't see their own slavery. And that movie that people are talking about, 12 Years a Slave, they show how religion was used to keep the slaves in their place. And the thing that gets me on a larger detail is it's still going on today.
Well,
Still going on.
you know,
It is very much alive.
today slavery is
It's a volunteer institution.
yeah, but it's not about color no more. It's not about
It's an
color.
equal opportunity
You know,
oppressor.
it's about being. If you're ignorant, you're a slave. Bottom line. If you don't know,
Bottom line now, the whole conversion of this it's not about color at all. It's about money,
Class.
where you do not have to contribute. You don't have any capital. You are, and your family is a slave. And the way people are being treated, the homeless, those who even in the housing area, they have created laws to help developers get you out of those buildings that they need to develop. A law called Article 31, called Discovery and Inspection. It's a criminal law they put into housing courts that tenants are not criminals, but the law, New York State, allowed it to be there, and it was put there through Andrew Cuomo, who was in charge of HUD in 1994, and all of these people had voted for the people who want to enslave, master all of us, white, blacks, and all of us. They are voting illiterate. They put the people, the masters. Andrew Cuomo has such a bad record on protecting people's federal rights, civil rights, but people voted for him in huge numbers to lead the state. When it comes to the new mayor, he's just nothing. He said nothing to help these people be able to maintain their lifestyle of living in an apartment or home.
Well, he's
But
talking.
he know how to hypnotize the American, to hypnotize the voters by saying low-income housing.
Yes.
That sends you into hypnotism. It's a lie, and there's nothing he can do. But I mentioned continuously on YouTube videos, people have supported me for 42 months, 48 months. But when they walked into that booth on November 5th, they forgot. So you put someone there who have no plan to help you. There is a way it can be done through the DNA, the economy DNA. There is a way rent can be reduced because they made a mistake. But I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to write a book and sell it now that the people don't want me to be their elected official. They look at me more as a comedian. I'm going to be that funny guy that they always think, and I'm going to make my millions now. That I wanted to help with a 2 decades and a half. I wanted to dedicate my time in helping, but I realized that this is not what American voter wants. I'm not going to kiss no behind, stay in this game. I'm going to step aside and make a decent living for myself and enjoy the proceeds of their ignorance, because there's nothing else I can do at this point, because it is critical. And you're right, everything you said about the Israelites and about slavery has returned. Slavery has been covered up by the economic conditions that we have been suffering from, not having to pay the rent, not having money to do anything, working day and night and coming home and giving all the money to the landlord. And it's going to get worse. You haven't seen anything yet. I'm prepared to get me a beach chair and put my flip-flops on and sit by the window and just watch people drive by my window and with U-Haul trucks. Well, the worst is yet to come.
Now,
didn't Bloomberg say you ain't seen nothing yet? Bloomberg said that at his press
you
conference.
You ain't seen nothing yet?
now
right, you haven't. Go ahead.
I was speaking with Ramona Africa yesterday, and she mentioned the fact to me that the conditions that MOVE was fighting against in Philadelphia or struggling against are the same conditions that the founding fathers of this country claimed that they were fighting against the police they called the Redcoats and against the King and Queen of England. Would you like to expound on that?
Yeah, I do. Because the kings and queens of England need to, I'm going to hit a bigger chord with this statement. Well, the kings and queens of England have to realize that they are homos like all of us. And what I mean by that is they belong to the species of Homo sapiens who walked out of Africa 250,000 years ago. The kings and queens of London have to realize that they're Africans too. And when the education is hidden away, that needs to be put into the schools to let the whitest of child know that you're African too. And this has created a big problem. That those with a lighter skin don't know that they're African. They don't know that the DNA has been uncovered by a doctor named Spencer Wells that has even went on ABC and all of Matt Lowry first learned that he was African on ABC live television with Matt Lowry and Al Roker. They all were there. Katie Kirk, she learned they all. But once the kings and queens of London realized it, so if they were African, if they are African, and this species during this time when God came to existence, that means that the Jesus himself, or the God himself, or the Allah himself, or whatever you want to call him, is African.
That's right.
It's African. Now, this is not being taught to the kids in school. And I look for the president who has turned out to be the worst president in modern times. He should push this forward. This education is critical to change. It'll change the mindset of the nation. It'll change the mindset of the young children growing up so they won't look at themselves like black kids or white kids. They will know who they are. And why that is not being put into the public school system or the educational system is beyond that. It is just a critical information that science has. If science, the DNA can release a prisoner from prison for murder or rape or whatever, and science has uncovered where we all came from, a little small town in Tanzania, where mitochondria of a woman, one African woman living today, mitochondria is passed on by the woman. And the Y chromosome of a man in Tanzania, one man today. And they admit there was many DNA, there were many Y chromosomes existed during the time, but only one survived, and that is the Y chromosome. That's in every man and every woman and every Y chromosome, every mitochondria on the planet. So we have a lot to go back to those books called the Schomburg and throw those books in the garbage. And there's no sense in reading them anymore because we're continuously poisoning our minds with something that we didn't really know, we speculated on. But it's okay to understand how people live in certain areas. But when you go to talk about ethnicity, there is no ethnic difference. But we have a crisis, an educational crisis, that in fact we are so easy to manipulate. When slavery was at its highest peak, slaves found a safe haven in the churches because they realized when they went to those churches, they wasn't getting hung, they wasn't getting raped, they wasn't getting beaten. And they all fled to the church. Now we have taken church and blew church and took church out of context. Oh, that's all we talk about now. But we don't know the history of going to that church. Just like we don't understand where the word nigger comes from. I set out to define where the word Negro comes from. And what my discovery found that it came from when the Europeans come from Europe and all of these people who could not read, when we were being sold on the market, the name Negro was displayed. But as the masters asked those slaves who were being sold to pronounce that word, and we could not read with the word nick. The word Negro, nigger, grew from the illiteracy of the pronunciation of a word. But when I sent my research to all the colleges in the nation in 1990, that I discovered where the name Negro comes from, they denounced it as though it never was said by me at all. And the word Negro was given to the people of the by the Roman Senate, as the Roman Senate named the people in the land of Africa, Scipio Africanus. So we have a lot of illiteracy and a lot of smart Negroes on the planet who don't know nothing about nothing, and they're teaching in our institutions, and they have taught our children down a tunnel of hell. Mm-hmm. So
not just our children, all children.
Yeah, all of them. Because you know, so when you have a conversation about history with people who don't really know the truth, and then they challenge you and look at you like you're crazy, you got to realize what they were educated by.
Yeah.
And I want to
cut you off. They'll cut you off in the middle of telling them stuff that they never heard. Like, oh yeah, that's right. Like they tell me like that. Shut up.
Now I would throw something else in a specific context, but I'm not going to derail this. I want to offer you the invitation to anytime you want to speak, or if you want to get together and develop something, as far as audio for the benefit of the education of our nation. Anytime I can do something to help you with that, mm-hmm. I'm offering you that invitation because I'd like my children to hear what you have to say.
Now I want to explain something here on this note. I'm not just the average, when I came forward with the Restitute at my party, I'm not just the average chocolate man. When I come out of Vietnam in 1968, I had amnesia. My memory was totally wiped out. I asked my psychiatrist, why is it that I could remember the hangings in the Deep South when I was a little boy going to school and seeing a black man hung upside a tree, but I couldn't remember no one I went to high school with. I couldn't remember not one soldier I served in combat with in Vietnam for 2.5 years. I was troubled by that. Why couldn't I remember my mother's name, birthday? Why couldn't I remember my 13 sisters and brothers? I did. Well, when they gave me a paper and told me this is where you have to go, I couldn't read or write. I went into the post office, not knowing how to read or write. I became a letter carrier. But before I went to the post office, I had to take a test. When I sat down to take that test, I couldn't read it. So I took my pen and I just went checking every damn thing. Check. I passed. When I wrote a book in 2009, I did a play off Broadway in 2007, I did a play and I wrote a book, compliment off that play called A Vet for Life. Something happened. When my memory began to restore itself, I started seeing big numbers, 50 billion, 150 billion, 800 million, big triples, big bucks, you named it, figures. I didn't understand it. Why was I seeing, I didn't know how to count. Why all of a sudden all of these numbers coming in my head? When I looked, and one day I looked at the state of New York, and when the businesses began to leave the state of New York, I could see the problem. And then I said, I need to do research on this. I said, I couldn't, a lot of you never hear me pronounce big words on television because a lot of big words are still missing from my memory. So what I do when I hear them, I write them down. And I go home and look it up, and now that I have the iPhone, I can Google the word and find out what that big word means. I don't use any big words at all. I only use small words and common words just to keep a conversation going. But my mind redesigned itself. And you talk to me, to Jimmy McMillan, to James McMiller, who I were, E-R. I had my name correctly changed to A-N because that was according to my Social Security number, it was A-N. But my military records was E-R. I was confused. So my mother, the lady who said she's my mother, who passed away in 2009, said that my name was A.N. Well, why was I named E.R.? She said, well, they didn't have the money during those times to correct it, and so she just left it alone. But I changed it to A.N. And then I learned when I changed it to A.N. that the man who I changed my last name to A.N. to wasn't my father in the first place. What a messed up world. Wow. But the determination of self, I asked myself, how did I get out of Vietnam alive? There were times when I ran out of water. There were times when we ran out of bullets. There were no bullets. There were no ammunition. We were surrounded by the Viet Cong, nothing but landmines. At one point, I could see in the dark. When my memory disappeared from me, I didn't need light to walk in midnight of jungle. I could see the landmines in the ground in pitch black at night. Who is Jimmy McMillan? I don't know. Jimmy McMillan's reason for coming home alive, I use the word reason because there is a reason. Why am I in this movement today? There is a reason I'm here. To define that, I let those who spiritually try to figure out something, I don't listen to them, but I let them talk. But I understand there is a supreme being. There has to be. I don't supposed to be here, but I am here. Now that I'm here, I woke up this morning. What was my reason for waking up? We all have a reason for waking up. Define your reason for waking up. You have children on the planet that you can't take care of. But we have a system set aside to make sure that if you can't take care of your children, let the system help you provide for your family. People use all kinds of, so I heard people say, oh, I don't want to get on welfare. I don't get, shut the fuck up, you know. But this is what I have become, an icon who were told when I ran for governor, you got to be rich. You need this, you need that, you need that. I said, I don't need to do nothing but stay black and die.
Thank you.
I said, I'm not going to run from those with money. You're not going to fear me. I'm not going to be frightened by your philosophy if I need this.
I'm going
to them high party started with $16.91. Now I had to open up a bank account for $20. All the rent to them high party had in his bank account, and the New York State gubernatorial debate was $16.91
against all their billions, right?
Against all their billions. And I wanted to show the little child who looked at all those who passed his house in limousine, those who wore the richest of suits, meaning it's not what they have, it's what you can have if you put your mind to it and overlook. There was a song called Don't Keep Up with the Joneses. People done forgot about that song. Radio stations need to start playing that song again and again and again.
Who's about?
Because everyone now want to keep up with the Joneses. I sit next to Palladino and Andrew Cuomo. This was something history has not spoke of yet. What is this chocolate man doing sitting between the two richest masters of the state? Rich billionaires. He sit between the both of them with a beard on, and he had his gloves on, and he had a pair of karate sneakers on. It was a moment.
It was brilliant. It was
has not spoke about. It was for a reason.
It was brilliant.
But you know what? It was colorful.
It's brilliant, man. And I get you 1,000%. You have to show people something to focus on in order for you to get them to focus on you so that you could deliver this message that you have.
You said a mouthful. That's exactly why I did it.
I know. I see it. It's clear.
That's exactly why I did it.
It's genius. You understand business. You understand marketing. You know. And, I mean, you are an icon. People could look at you and just think the rent is too damn high.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true. My job...
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear? Yeah.
My job was to get your attention. As a karate teacher, I use that phrase to help me so no one would have to ask, why is he doing this? You are my student.
Thank you.
When I work with New York Yankees Mel Hall. I was his bodyguard. My job was to take your attention off Mel Hall. When I'm bodyguarding him, you put your attention on me. Mm-hmm. So I was standing tall and looking good for a reason, not because I had muscles, and it worked. Mel Hall was a celebrity, but because I displayed my long hair and my muscles and my straight up look and my straight up walk, and I didn't have the beard, I took the attention off him. So when I became a candidate for governor of the state of New York, I wasn't worried. I had practiced, I had prepared to take the attention away from all of these guys who've been fighting on television backwards and forwards, Carl Palladino and Andrew Cuomo. To take the attention away from them and make the people focus on the most serious of issues, the necessity of issues that has brought this state to its knees. And the necessity of issues is not stopping fish. The necessity of issues is rent.
Quick question.
Damn high.
That's right.
Quick question. What style of martial arts did you teach and study? Shotokan and Nisha Goju-Ryu. I use those two forms as a cover because I learned how to kill with my hands when I ran out of bullets in Vietnam. I learned it from the rock soldiers. I didn't have time to be hitting you in your face. I learned the pressure point to stop your heartbeat, to be able to hit you in your chest, and when your heart stopped, give you a chance to please you, and I would just kill you with my hands. I had to take those. I still know that, but there's no sense in that kind of attitude in America. No.
So I cleaned it up, and I started using verbal judo with the master of perfection and technique. I walk past someone, good afternoon, how are you? Good evening. Someone say they don't like me, I would make sure to speak to them first. How you doing?
That's like
so I ask the students when they come to train to me, I say, you have any enemies? Or they would tell me about the people they couldn't stand. I would tell them, well, you can't come here. I don't teach people with problems. I need your mind to be clear. You need to go and clear that problem. That person who you don't get along with, I need you to start speaking to them right now, today. And I won't start training you until 2 months after I realize, after you understand that your mind has to be clear of everything. Because when I get to train you, I'm here to train you as I'm doing this to the people in the state of New York. Even right now as I speak to those who listen. But speaking clearly, to understand we have a rent crisis. And to make them understand and help them understand, because we have to be taught everything. Clear your mind. You can't pay your rent. You're not going to be here. You can vote for everybody you want to vote for. And you will be supporting their campaign in another state or another country. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to get kicked out of the state where you voted. Mm-hmm. And this is something that the people, the older generation, had not caught on to. Mm-hmm. The young people need to take over this election process and tell grandmama and grandpapa, which the young people did not vote. Only 23% of the people voted, which is sad for the people. But I teach for a reason, and I teach every day, even when I speak we're speaking now. And I want the people to understand I'm well-trained, I'm professionally trained. I want the children, every child is my slogan. And I want every child to know that the uncle that was left behind in Vietnam, cousins, nephews, they are my brothers. And for all my brothers' children that are here, I am your daddy. And I'm here to make sure that you get the best out of this country that can be given. Constitutional right that is here to protect all of us, and we are not exercising the constitutional right. What we are experiencing here in the city of New York City has written its own laws that is not being challenged on the federal level. And that is the responsibility of the people you voted into office, and the people you voted into office are not doing that. You're getting arrested. You're caught with a gun. They give you 1 year in prison. You have federal rights, federal laws give you the right to bear arms. But it's not being challenged because New York State say that you have to live by their charter, and that is not so. You can beat that in federal court. But why don't we go there? Because we don't have the money for an attorney. Or the attorney just let New York State have it. this is the kind of people we become. We've become a people where we don't fight. And I'm not going to run. You're not going to frighten me. You want to challenge me, then you violate my federal rights. You're disabled. Landlord come to you, tell you got to move. Landlord push you through a process in housing court. They call it, first the landlord will send you a notice of not renewed lease. Secondly, send you a notice of non-payment. Third, they send you a notice of discovery and inspection. And that alone is a violation of federal law, because you can't, they ask you for your tax information. Under the Fair Housing Act, that is prohibited. They ask you your Social Security, they want doctor's information under the discovery and inspection. People are so frightened, they don't care to learn the right. They just run down a vote. They don't know who they vote, but they just vote. All of this is a violation of your right.
But now, if you challenge this in court, is the court actually going to rule justly according to federal law with one person challenging it? Do you need a movement, a mass of people to say, hey, this is federal law? Because obviously the judge is getting funded by the same landlords who are taking people out their home.
I wouldn't go that way, because I'm not afraid of you are challenged by 27th Amendment to the Constitution. It has already been established as a movement under the 27th Amendment to the Constitution. First of all, you wasn't any harm or bringing any harm or any danger to anyone. There's a lot of things that you can use in this. Yes, I had it, but I had it with me. I have a right to carry it, but I've never been arrested. It makes sure you don't have a felony record. I don't have a record, and I have a right to carry it, but I didn't realize that I was violating the law by having it. I was going. You have a right to go get a hunting license to go hunting.
Well,
but like I said, we have let the beliefs that some people tell us that because New York State has very strict laws, and New York State is violating every constitutional right you have, and we are letting it happen. And housing code is a good example of that. Is why I use the housing code as an example. I use the gun problem. Control as a reason. I don't talk of gun control. I talk of landlord control. Let me just go back and say something that de Blasio and during the campaign they spoke about, and it's not a serious issue. It's not a necessity issue that'll cause you to get evicted from the state. But they talk of stopping fish. That is. Let me be clear. I'm a street rat. Blacks are killing blacks in the streets like crazy. Black guys that walk with black groups, one or two people who may have been stopped and frisked by the police department, even I was stopped. I pulled my pants down and got butt naked. I just pulled them all the way down. Pulled my shirt up. As you can see, no, you wanted to search me. It was a woman. I showed her everything. Teach them a lesson from stopping. Pull your pants, get naked, let them stop. She seen us everything. And she wanted Melissa, you have to put, no. You said you wanted to search me. I'm helping you.
Right. You
can't do nothing. Be smart, everybody. Be smart. Stop being crybaby. Crybaby.
Mm-hmm. Well,
crybaby. And that's what we're the nation of crybabies, and nobody want a real fight. Yeah. You don't have to call nobody. Call Al Sharp to tell her something. Get naked. What you got to hide? You scared to show your little pecker? Come on.
I like it. Get naked. But that's deep.
I mentioned
deep.
my friend. But this guy is a good friend of mine. He supported my campaign in 2000. Al Sharpson. We are soldiers in the field fighting. I didn't believe in, I said, let me do the best I can without having to be a baby and run to him, because I did not give it all I had. I ran to him for that extended help without having to. He is a soldier, like many of our soldiers who was our grandparents, who we will never know about, who fought in this fight for us to gain a step higher in life as we get older. So, but I just had to mention that about him, because we're all soldiers in the fields fighting, hoping that someday that this suffering will soon be over. And the people could have accomplished that with the Rent Too Damn High movement, we had a plan to reduce the rent. We have a plan. The rent was going down because they made a mistake. The Ponzi that they accused Bernie Madoff of, the real estate brokers have committed one too. And that includes every elected official in the state who are now real estate moguls. Remember Perkins, who rented a small apartment in 1993. Now he's a real estate mogul. Remember Reverend Calvin Butt? Now he's a real estate mogul.
Yep.
All of them have used that avenue after 9/11 become real estate moguls. So this is what we know. Why we had used science. In the DNA science that only starts from 2001, it don't go past that because that is not when the problem began. The problem started from 2001 to current. And so we uncovered this. And I will be more than happy at any time to come to your program and outline those people who walk past me and tell me, I got a mortgage. They don't realize your mortgage payment is higher than my rent. Your life, your water bill is much more than my rent. But you can't pay your landlord's mortgage. That's a New York state law. If your landlord's mortgage, your rent cannot exceed the landlord's mortgage. If the landlord's mortgage is $4,000 and they have 6 tenants in the building, which makes the rent stabilized, when your mortgage cannot, your rent, the tenant's rent, your one rent cannot exceed his mortgage. But the question is that if his mortgage is $4,000 a month and one tenant paying $3,200 a month or $2,600 a month, and you got 6 tenants, he's making a huge profit. So that New York State, your elected officials, Chuck Schumer, Christian Gillibrand, every city councilman, state assembly, every elected official in the state you name, will not cut off the hands that feed them. They don't give a damn about you. But you run out there with signs, with their names on, with their buttons, and you vote for them like that crazy. And they're the ones
wearing out your sneakers and burning gas to get there and all that.
Exactly. You are playing right into their hands of keeping they are doing all of this for their party boss, the Democratic Party bosses. And the Democratic Party bosses are the slave masters from the very beginning. They have always been able to do that. They learn how to use those who can help them stay in power. Vote for Barack Obama, keep the Democratic Party in power. When the Democratic Party is not the party that we turned to from the very beginning. It was the Republican Party.
My grandmother used to tell me that. When I was a kid, my grandmother said, the Republicans were the Democrats and the she used to tell me to switch. And I thought she was crazy. And I keep hearing this in all the big historians breaking it down.
I don't believe in I don't believe in those parties, man, because we're not invited to those parties.
They don't believe in you either.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What party? You have to belong to a party to be a part of a group to make change. So those who say they don't vote because of that can't be said anymore. This is why we created the Rent Too Damn High Party.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Give me something I could believe in, though. Give me personally something I could believe in. Something that when I look in the mirror, I don't have to feel like, I'm a sucker.
Oh my goodness!
Because I gave you, you know what I'm saying?
That's a strong word because Barack Obama is being used as a guinea pig to get you into the party, and he's being used as they use him, and for us to be suckers to vote for the party because we got a black man, we got a Negro, we got an African American president of the United States. Every time this is said, the Democratic Party. Let's go fishing today, Bob. We're going to go fishing. Oh, no, let's go play some golf. We got, Richard probably needs to be here because somehow or another, somebody want to smother the N-word, but they're saying that behind closed doors of them cigar. Did we get the niggas this time? We got them.
It's true.
Would you like to take a few phone calls? Let's see if we can get some callers to call in. Well, we're going to go to some music for a moment.
Yeah, let the people call in.
You are listening to Urban Alchemy 360 Radio.
So tell us what you have coming up in the future.
Wow, I just got a contract from movie production called Street Justice. It was a program on television at one time. And since the election was just held on November 5th, I'm just taking a political vacation. I wanted to go fishing, but it's too cold. For the future, I'm 66 years of age. My birthday is the 1st of December, where I turned 67. And I don't know. I've never been a celebrity before. I don't like to use that word, but it is what it is, and people recognize me as that. So I just want to make my fan base, and we're international now, fan base in Switzerland, New Zealand, Australia, Israel, Russia, Korea, China, Japan, you name the country. As they walk the streets and they see me, they come running across the street to take photographs with me. You name from everywhere I go. So I'm trying to look for an agent that can get me speaking engagements. So I put the word out now. I don't have none of that. I just been running to get my message to the people, just trying to be a veteran and who trying to understand why do people recognize me for telling the truth as a celebrity. You know, when I just said rented, I said it what it is. I didn't expect it.
Jimmy, you know what that is, Jimmy? You're talking about something that is relevant all over the world. When you say the rent is too damn high, people hear that and they hear that message, and it's relevant everywhere around the earth. You know what I'm saying?
And I can't disagree with that, because that's what I have. I didn't realize that it would go that far.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the world would hear one message and put their love around one man. They don't recognize me as a colored man or chocolate man or Negro African. They recognize me as someone who they want to take pictures with instantly. When they see me, they want my autograph. What I'm looking to do, you know Richie Haven, right?
Yeah. I was at his memorial.
Oh, okay. I stole something from Richie Haven that no one has paid attention to or has even asked me about. Richie Haven put his political message in his music.
Let me, I got a caller coming in. Hold that thought, and we're going to,
okay,
real quick.
All right.
All right, WBAI, you're on the air with Jimmy McMillan.
Yeah, hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I was wondering, the gentleman, Mr. McMillan, is he open to engagement, speaking engagements?
He wants to know if you're open for speaking engagements.
Yes, I am. That is correct.
How do we get in contact?
All you have to do is go to rentis2damnhigh.org. I have it highlighted at the very top in yellow. I have a team there to arrange the engagement, to make arrangements for you.
Okay.
I'm looking to. I'm glad he mentioned that, because this is what I had. Because the election was just passed, and I have been doing this to all the. Listen very carefully. To all the white colleges and universities. Not one black institution has invited me to speak before them yet.
What do you do?
I had volunteered to go and went to Mega Evans, and because I know they are not learning, because they're not teaching them. So I said, let me get the opportunity to take this message voluntarily, and they never took the time to pick up the pen. And I was going to do it for most of the charges, like Princeton, Harvard, Quinnipiac College, and Florida State University. All these places would pay for my travel to get there, UMass, to get there. But I wanted to do for Mega Evans because I'm right here. It's right here. But
they scared. They scared.
I ain't mad at them, but yes, I do speaking engagements, and I'm hoping that the door will open wider for people to learn what has happened in this state as well. Some people say, "Well, I'm leaving New York. I'm going south." Well, I don't think you want to make that statement again. It is not easy south as you think it is, as you try to make it sound. When you get south, you're going to find out there's no job. When you get south, going to find out that you have rent to pay. And if you don't have a job, how you going to pay that rent? Now, it is not easy. Your travel has been eliminated. They have brand new homes. Like I said, I have photographs of this. And I can't wait to put the video out. In the middle of Memphis, Tennessee cotton field. In the middle of Alabama cotton field. Brand new homes. They are waiting your return. And the way things are going, when you get evicted from this place, instead of fleeing to the streets of New York, like thousands of millions will be in the coming future, because the current administration hasn't said anything about rent reduction. They want to increase taxes. That's going to create a hellhole for those who are now currently paying rent. Well, when the landlord, whatever raise, that's going to go up. But we found a way to block that and fight that. We found a way to reduce that. We found laws that he has violated. A landlord have a violation. He raised the rent. Can't do that. New York State has allowed him to do that. A landlord has a criminal record. He has access to your Social Security number. He can't have that. A landlord is not a citizen of the United States. He has access to all of your personal vital information. He can't have that. Running for governor of the state of New York, I said New York State should have prepared a certificate of authority, a certificate of authorization. By saying to this landlord, you can't get that information from them. But you have to go through the state. You go through us. We won't give you their information, but we'll let you know if they are this and that.
Let me ask.
When those guys,
but we have not protected our citizens after Al-Qaeda, and we have went for the money. We have turned elected officials. This is what we bring to the table. We bring solutions. We bring cleanup mode. We bring you move out of an apartment paying $800 a month.
Hold on for a moment. Hold on for a moment.
Yeah.
You are listening to WBAI New York. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I had to do that.
You move out the apartment. The landlord want to make capital improvement. That means he'll run in right away, rip out the old stove from $800 money. All of a sudden, he want to charge $2,900 a month. But he's making a mistake, because capital improvement is supposed to be, you could do that. But when you get your money back, you're supposed to reduce the rent to where it's supposed to be. Why have New York State enforce that law? They are not doing that. So I need to give engagements like never before about New York State rent laws and what New York State is allowing. Even New York State court system, all the data that is collected from the tenants and anyone who goes to housing court, this data is being sold to government agencies. Now, if this data is being sold to government agencies, how can your case be tried in New York State Housing Court, New York State Unified Court System? So it's a conflict of interest that is not being addressed, because those we voted for, we're not voting for them to solve this housing problem. We voted for them because I like him. He's nice.
He's got nice hair.
Yeah, he got nice.
Oh, he looks good in a suit.
Yeah. I want to give engagement.
He hangs out with Jay-Z.
I don't know how to do that. I'll say to the listeners now, if anyone can help make that happen, you can pull your contract out. You can get ready to put me on the road, and I will be doing those speeches, because the people even in North Carolina, they want me to come to Europe, the UK. It is. I did a Skype in Israel TV already. I was confused. My biggest supporters are the Israelis. The Israelis have a rent too damn high movement going on in Tel Aviv. They want me to come to Tel Aviv. I was on Channel 10 in Israel numerous times. I made a joke. I said, oh my goodness, they're going to get mad now. Because they said, we need you to come to Tel Aviv and support the movement, the rent too damn high movement we have here, because in Tel Aviv, you cannot rent. If you do not buy, you're in the street.
Wow.
And so that same process is here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. They're bringing that here. And so we have a problem. So I need to, this is a good opportunity for me to become a speaker now to help people understand the rent laws. And one more thing on those cotton fields. Why are those brand new homes in the cotton fields? Because the cotton machinery has become too expensive to buy. They know someone who understands economics the way I understand the DNA of economics. There's only one solution to the DNA of economics, is to get that cotton picked manually. You can't afford the machinery. Because every time they buy a new piece of machinery, the price of cotton is going to have to increase.
Well,
so how they plan to reduce the price of cotton is to get it picked manually, the way it started through slavery. And that is coming back.
Well, we got slavery with the incarceration numbers as well. I mean,
brothers are put in prison. They're building prisons too.
Yeah.
And these brothers are working, they're laboring for substandard wages.
Yes.
So there's a multifaceted.
It all supports.
And the military.
Yeah.
Did you read the story about these?
Thank you, caller, who just hung up.
How you know, caller? Thank you so much. Go to my website and contact me and give this information to everybody that you can, and tell them to listen to BAI, because this is the only program that will give people like myself an opportunity to keep it raw, keep it real, because I am different than anyone in the world right now. I'm at the top of the world with information that's causing the whole world to suffer. And the world has taken me international, and I'll be more than happy to speak at gatherings if you can set it up. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, make sure I get the information in an email or something, and I'll pass it on to other people who we may be able to get you to come out to Long Island and speak to some of the privilege.
That is why I'm here. I'm here to inform. I come from Vietnam to inform. I'm exposed to a chemical called Agent Orange, and I have deformed children. And when I learned that the government sprayed this stuff on me and refused to give me money to help my children, I was upset. But the question is, how mad could I get? Because I had to continue to live without dying of stress or a heart attack, to make sure that others understand. Those who suffer from autism in the state of New York, these are the children of veterans who were exposed to Agent Orange that nobody's talking about. They act like it don't even exist. So
I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you another important question, and I'd like you to address, because you obviously have an extreme amount of energy and vigor, and something that's very important to me, and a message I want to get to the audience also is, what is your health regimen that I know martial arts is a big part of it, and there's a lot more to it than just kicking and punching. Please impart some of what you do to stay healthy and vital and energetic at 66 years old.
Okay. I'm exposed to chemicals, 15 herbicides that were sprayed in Vietnam. I'm exposed to them. I can't have children. The children that I did have, I have a Vietnamese daughter. She's 44 years of age. I have an American daughter who's deformed from the chemicals of Agent Orange. There were 3 other children young ladies who had gotten pregnant and were pregnant, but the baby was too deformed to be born. One of them head was born, the head was in the middle of her back, and the other one with her head arm was coming out of her head. The chemicals had caused that. And when I seen it, I didn't want to have any more children. I thought I'd live a single life and not put any woman through that misery of having deformed children.
How's your love life?
And I thought I would spend my time just to take on a ready-made family. If I would have found a young lady who needed help with her kids, I was ready to. And I want to do that now. I'm now that I'm looking for a girlfriend, I would prefer someone who has children.
Yeah, I wanted to know. Like you said, you got like 1.5 million emails from available women. How's your love life?
0. I have no one.
That's surprising.
My son just joined the Army, and I didn't think my son escaped the conditions of his sister through diplomacy, because I went through so many tests to make sure that my sperm could be clean, because I didn't want to put another woman through that. And I'm still afraid today, because even though my son is in the Army, he's healthy, I'm afraid of what I've seen through my past kids, that I don't want to go. I don't want to go through that fear.
Mm-hmm.
But I am exposed to Agent Orange, and the chemicals is in my blood. I take a series of medication. I take a medication called Trazodone because I had a loss of memory to try to help me to keep from getting hyper. My blood pressure was 120 over 110, over 210 or something like that, or 210 over 110. And I take the medication even though I don't have high blood pressure. It's the chemicals in my blood that makes my pressure run that high. But I found something to take that'll keep my pressure from exceeding the limit. And at one point, I couldn't walk. In 1989, I had to use a walker to walk. I was on the 44th bus in Brooklyn, and I had the driver. I couldn't get off the bus. I had the driver to stop at Kings Highway, and I was admitted in the community hospital in Brooklyn. And I was there for about a month, something like that, 3 or 4 weeks of the month. And when I came out the hospital, I could walk. So I realized they gave me an IV, and I realized from that IV that I wasn't taking that medication. So the medication they were giving me dried the cartridges, dried the lubricant out of my joint, and I never took that medication again. So I started doing research to try to find out what worked. I started testing medication. Instead of me taking the whole pill, I would take a small pill in moderation because you have to learn how to keep yourself alive. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've been doing since Vietnam. I have no love life. Now, I think I'm ready for a girlfriend.
Okay.
I'm too old. I met a young lady, 2 young ladies that want to help me. They want to join my team to help me musically because I do play music now.
What's your instrument?
My CDs is out, but they want to introduce me to older women. But I don't want no older woman.
I kind of with you with that.
No offense to older women, but I don't want one. I want someone around me that's
gonna keep you alive.
That could propel me.
Yeah.
So an older woman can say that,
right.
But when she wakes up dragging old, and that's no offense to older women, but it's being I do a comedy program.
You need some inspiration, is what you're trying to say.
Well, I can't say that because older women will hear that and they'll feel insulted.
Okay.
But no offense to older women. Wait a minute, let me say this first. I do a comedy show called True TV on the World's Dumbest.
Uh-huh.
I'm on there every night, and I do comedy. And so when I say to older women, I can get away with some of the things I say because it's almost like if you go to the fruit stand and you see the fruit and the vegetables on the stand. You tell the guy, no, I don't want those. I want the vegetables you took off the stand and you put in the box on the table. They're going to say, but those vegetables are old. Well, that's what I want.
Yeah, but brother, some of that older fruit is so much sweeter.
It is. It is, especially when it comes to persimmons and it comes to cantaloupe. From old cantaloupes to the sweet. But I understand that black and berry is sweet as juice.
It depends on the individual, though.
We're being real bad, right?
Yeah.
This is not a pro-feminist conversation.
No, it's not about that. It's about the individual and what she brings to the table.
It's the individual, right? And my preference through comedy, that's why I say you can't tell a joke anymore. You can't kid around. But let's be for real.
But Bill Prof was just saying
what I want. I want when I tell the joke when I go to the beach and I made out with this woman in the back seat of the car. She was my age, and I had to call the paramedic to move from the seat because she caught cramps. So, but we don't forgot how to joke.
Yeah, we
have. You're not allowed to tell a joke anymore. You're not allowed to have a sense of humor anymore. Mm-hmm. So what is my preference when it comes to females? Oh my God, I've seen some beautiful women of all colors. They look so good to me.
Chocolate
Being
rainbow.
single, it's like teasing a hungry bulldog with a stick every time one walks past me. At this point, I am not choicy. As long as she can cook, as long as she don't be getting mad because I talk a lot, as long as she don't wake up with that attitude, and if I go someplace and she see me with somebody, who's that you talking to? Oh, come on, I got to leave you.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You actually have had women get mad because you talk a lot?
Yes, because a lady come up to me. She was 55 years of age. one of the prettiest 55 years of age women I've seen in my life. I said, I'm gonna talk to y'all straight. I said to myself, I got to get me some of this. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. Cause she come up to me after being whatever she said, being a celebrity and everything. She said, you don't know I love you. And I said, thank you so much. And we kept talking. She told me her 56th birthday was so and so, and I said, oh my God, this woman looked good. You know, right away my mouth started dripping water. The love started boiling over. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm comedy too. I like to keep it real. I want to be able to say things around her to see how she is. You have to be able to smile. You have to be able to take a joke. But when somebody come up to me, a young lady came up to me and she wanted my autograph. She looked at me and she said, "Oh, you like young women, I see." I said, "Oh no, she didn't." You know, she screwed it all up because she had got my attention big time. Mm-hmm. It don't take but a second because I don't argue. It's not worth it. I don't waste my time.
Jimmy, would you like to wrap it up and say anything else to the audience that you want them to know right now? And we're definitely going to have you back in the future, in the near future.
Yeah, I do. To everyone who have heard of me and some have seen me, Christmas is coming. We want you to go to the website at rented2damnhot.org and be able to. I have some autograph photos I'm going to put up. I'm going to let them go for like $3 to $5 autograph photos. We have buttons and T-shirts on the website. Mm-hmm. But most importantly, I'm a new person when it comes to the celebrity. You're not a rock star. I'm just
I beg to differ.
A person with a message. And I hope that everyone can take the seriousness of the direction that we're headed is not good. Mm-hmm. And I want to be able to get this message and spread this message throughout to everyone so they can understand what critical condition we're in. And
we really are.
I need to speak in engagement. I need to tour the country. And if anyone I also as a musician, as you were saying before I go, I took Richie Havens' style away from him because I put my message in my music and no one caught on to it and asked me about it. Mm-hmm. I would like to talk about that one day.
Okay. Will you come back? Anytime you want to come back, you want to come back next week, because I am a fan.
Okay.
I dig where you're coming from, and I want to get your message out there too. So you're quite welcome.
Thanks. And to everyone who have recorders on your radio, the radio station comes on at 3:15 or 3. You can record the message and play it back when you wake up. I don't know if you guys have access to online capabilities, but
yes.
People can see it online, and I hope that people do that. So I am a funny guy, but out of all the jokes that I tell, this is really serious.
It is
and
serious.
This is really for real. Mm-hmm. So I hope that the people can come on and ask some questions, and let's get real with this, because this is something like you've never seen before, a transformation of your life that is being destroyed right before your very eyes. You're watching yourself become helpless.
Now,
and not being able to do anything about it, but watch it disappear right before your very eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to stop that.
Thank you.
Okay, now before you go,
we're with you.
I've got a CD here in my hands by a woman, an older woman, not older. I don't know if I should say that the right way, but she's of your vintage, and she is absolutely, unbelievably, stunningly beautiful. I met her in person last year and a half ago. Her name is Nona Hendricks. And she's heavy, she's political, and I got a track. Give out your contact information again, your website, and then we're going to go to a little bit of music, and we're going to thank you so much for joining us.
My website, the contact information, to go to rented2damnhot.org, and you're going to see a yellow strip at the very top with information on how to contact my team. Because I have 385 million fans, you have to contact them without me direct, because my phone will never stop ringing if I gave my phone number. So go to rented2damnhot.org, follow the yellow strip, and all the contact information is on that yellow strip for my team to contact me for anything I need to help. I need all of you to help me be able to get this message out. I talk about rent so much in the rent laws and what we need to do to help our children, even waiving our college tuition. We get into the next time we meet again. I come back here.
That's another.
And again, go to the website, and then happy Thanksgiving, everyone. In case if you don't come back next week, if I'm not here next week, and if I don't see you and talk to you before the holiday. Happy holiday. I will say this to continue, even if I do come back. I will continue to say happy holiday because this may be the last time you see or hear of any of us, because life is not a guarantee for any of you.
That's true.
Brother Jimmy McMillan, the rent's too damn high. Thank you for joining us here on In the Moment.
Thank you.
I also want to thank,
everyone.
in a huge way, I want to thank Urban Alchemy 360.
You have been listening to UA360 Radio. Portions of this podcast were produced during the production of In the Moment and features Ahmad Ali, Will Roberson, and Milan Rivera of Urban Alchemy 360, and originally aired live on 99.5 WBAI-FM in New York City.